This week's parsha is Parshas Vayigash. You know, many of us who are not eating latkes at this moment are feeling very sad. Today was Chanukah, the last day of Chanukah, and now we're sort of into the long haul, to the long winter, and this year especially is the leap year, the long winter. For me. And sometimes, you know, till the next holiday comes about, it's going to be quite some time. We can get down and out a little bit. I actually look forward to leap years and long winters because you can get a lot more accomplished. You know, usually during holiday time, you're busy preparing for the holidays and you're busy with the holiday halachos and everything associated with the holiday, and it's a pleasure to have a long winter where you can have your own free time and spend it how you wish. Learn the Torah that Hashem gave us in all areas. But if we have to take a lesson from Chanukah and we have to move forward, that is that we have to look to the future, look toward a time that will be complete or complete light, a time that it will never get dark. And with that hope, with that in mind, we won't feel the darkness of the winter. We'll be elevated above the levels of darkness, moodiness, and we'll have chizuk, we'll have the strength that we need to go through. Rabbi Yerucham Levavitz in the Das Torah makes the following observation. He says, we all know Maisa Avos Simin Labanim, that what our forefathers did, they created a path for us to go on. They were trailblazers, and we follow in their actions. They planned a future for us to live within. And many of us associate that concept of Maisa Avos Simin Labanim strictly to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. But as we move on through the Parshios and we come to the Shivatim and to Yosef and these stories, which is where it really ends, we sort of perceive them as mere stories. And we make that disconnect between the concept of Maisa Avos Simin Labanim, that really the stories of Yosef and his brothers are great lessons for us. And more so than great lessons, they actually dictate to us our paths in history and future. The story of Yosef is strange indeed. The story of Yosef with his brothers we've followed until Parshas Vayigash. At the end of Parshas Miketz, we have the brothers coming down to Mitzrayim through Parshas Miketz. They're coming down to Mitzrayim to get lechem, to get grains, to make the bread. And they're met with resistance of this Tzafnas Paneach guy, who's the king of Egypt, or the second in command, in charge of all the food. And he's making accusations. You're spies. You've come to spy the land so that you can conquer it. And he's giving them a hard time. And finally he says, Bezos tibachenu, this is how we're going to determine whether you're you're honest or you're spies. I'm going to take your brother Shimon, one of the brothers there, and I'm going to lock him up in the jail, and you are going to go back to your father and not return until Binyamin comes down with you, your other brother. And we all know from last week, the brothers are bewildered and they're upset. They go back to their father, and at the end, push came to shove, they have to go down, and Yaakov sends Binyamin, and they go down with Binyamin, and Yosef, the Sofnas Paneach, invites them in to eat, to drink, and they drink wine, it says. Rashi says they drink wine from the first time. From the time that they sold Yosef, they had not drank any wine. And they drink with him, make merry, take their grains, and go.
This is before Yain Nessa.
Yeah. And then, all of a sudden, the shliach of Yosef, the messenger, comes and tells them, you stole his kviyah hakesef, this golden silver, hakesef, silver magical goblet. And they come back downtrodden to Mitzrayim. And that's where we are. I think it's the only parsha in the Torah that ends with a suspense.
Well, to be continuing.
And then we begin this week's parsha and we say Vayigash Elav Yehuda. Yehuda, if you recall, had taken achrayus. He was responsible to bring Yosef back to his father, and he had given up his olam haba for that. That's how Anochi Yarvenu Miyadi Tevakshenu. The arevos, the guarantee, will be my own olam haba. So Yehuda comes and he's in desperation. Vayigash Elav Yehuda. Vayomer bi Adoni, Daberna Avdecha Bazni Adoni Valyichar Avdecha Beavdecha Ki Kamoicha Kiparo. He comes in desperation and pleads, please, don't take Binyamin. Don't take him from us. His father, Nafsha, Kshura ben Nafsho, his soul is tied to his father's soul. They already lost, we lost a brother, we lost a son from this mother, and he lost the mother, and now Binyamin is all he has left. Don't keep Binyamin. And of course we know, V'lo yochol Yosef lihisapek, he couldn't hold himself back anymore. He said, Ani Yosef, I am Yosef, your brother, who you sold me to the land of Egypt. But don't worry, Hashem is the master of the world. He rules the entire world. He did this for a purpose. Interestingly enough, Yosef said the purpose is Ki l'michya shenalchani aleichem. Hashem sent me to support the world. We know, looking back, Hashem had a bigger picture than that, and this was the beginning of the Yerida of Mitzrayim, Golos Mitzrayim. Why did Yosef put his brothers through all this aggravation?
Because they want to know if they have the same brothers that sell him are supposed to, if they change. They're not the same that they were when they sold him.
The dream. You have to make the dreams come true.
All true. Everything you're saying is true. The Sforim teach us that Yosef wanted his brothers to do teshuvah, to do tshuva, and we know that at the end, in the middle of the story, Parshas Miketz already, they do tshuva. Aval ashemim anachnu,
Guilty.
We're guilty. Alachinu, that we sold our brothers. Al kein ba'a aleinu atzara azos. That's why this difficulty has come to us. In a sefer called Mimamakim, written by Rav Moshe Shapiro, he explains as follows. Yosef put his brothers through 3 levels of tshuva. In the beginning of the story, what happens? He accuses them of spying. He takes Shimon and he sends them to go get Binyamin. If you recall, even from the previous parsha, Vayeshev, Who were the ones that were behind throwing Yosef into the pit?
Shimon and Levi.
Shimon and Levi. How do we know that? So in Perek Lamed Zayin Pasuk Yates, the pasuk says, "Vayomru ish el achiv." The one man says to his brother, "Hine bal hachalomos halazeh ba." The dreamer is coming. Va'ata l'chud b'nargeu. Let's go and kill him. And the Mefarshim say, who is this Ish El Achiv? Targum Yonasan ben Uziel says, Shimon and Levi. Somehow figured that Shimon was the one that threw him in. So Yosef put Shimon into the jail. He took Shimon and he put Shimon into the jail. Why did he plan to take Binyamin down? Why was he forcing them to take Binyamin down? He wanted to make tsaras for his father? No. What Yosef wanted was a tikkun for the chait of the Mechiras Yosef. For them to correct the sin of selling Yosef. What was the sin of selling Yosef? It was that sinah, that hatred to their brother, the son of Rachel. To correct that, he needed them to care about another son of Rachel, Binyamin. To have the opposite feelings about Binyamin. So they go up, and we know who is the one who sold Yosef to Mitzrayim. That was Yehuda.
Yeah.
He was the one who had that idea. So, who is the one that needs the greatest tikkun? Yehuda. So he goes and tells his father, I'm going to guarantee this. Anochi yarvenu, miyadi tivakshenu.
Yehuda was a big warrior too, right? And his father trusts him more than all. He was the leader, right? Also, it's not only tikkun; it's also that he was the leader. No, that's why the father gave them a Benjamin, because
he was the leader, but he needed this tikkun.
Because
he sold. So he needed to show how much he would give up.
Serious nefesh. But the problem
for
is,
Yosef.
I don't know if he did it quite right,
Binyamin.
because he had to suffer for many years after what he did. What he said, at least.
Mm-hmm.
The pasuk in Yeshaya says, Ze'ev v'tleh yiru ke'echad.
The wolf
And the sheep will
lay down.
yir'eh, like they will pasture
graze.
graze
Graze is one.
as one. The Medrash says Ze'ev, Ze Binyamin. Binyamin, Ze'ev Yitra. Binyamin is referred to as a wolf. Tleh, the sheep, Elu Hashvatim. These are the Shvatim. Shenemar, how do we know that? Se Pezura Yisrael. Yisrael is compared, Yirmiyah compares it to a se. Yiru ke'echad, when will they graze together? Emasai kishiyered Binyamin imahem. When Binyamin will go down with them. Hayu mimatzim oisoi, they would put him in between them. Vayu mishamrim oso, they would guard him so that nothing should happen to him. Yosef was behind this. This is the tikkun for the chait, for the sin. That's why when they come back to Mitzrayim, Yosef throws them a party. And it says in the pasuk, Vayishtu vayishkaru imo. They drink and they become drunk together. Chazal say, Rashi brings down, as I said before, Umayom shemachruhu lo shasu yayin lohu v'loheim. From the day that they sold Yosef, nobody drank any wine. Not Yosef and not the brothers.
So why they drink?
And on that day they drank. Why? It's to show that there was a tikkun for the chait, for the sin of the mechiras Yosef. But then it wasn't enough. Then Yosef put the Geviyah HaKesef and set him up so that Binyamin should come down, so that he would bring the Shvatim to the point of the third level, which is true Mesiras Nefesh. They would rather give up their lives. Hinenu l'chol la'avodim. We will stay here and be for you servants. Do whatever you want from us. Just send Binyamin back to his father. That Mesiras Nefesh is the tikkun of the chait of Mechiras Yosef. And that Mesiras Nefesh is the source of redemption. The sinah that caused Mechiras Yosef causes galus. Galut, exile. When there isn't a kesher, when people dislike each other, that causes galus. That's the source of bringing us down to Mitzrayim. The correction to that is Mesiras Nefesh, giving up our souls for the other person. That's redemption. In this week's Haftarah, the portion that we read after the laning is from the Navi Yechezkel, chapter 37. You may have heard this before, maybe last year, perhaps the year before. Hashem comes to Yechezkel saying, V'ata ben Adam. That's how they refer to Yechezkel and Navi, ben Adam. Take kach lecha eitz echad. Take a stick. Uksoiv alav liYehuda livnei Yisrael, and write on it for Yehuda and Bnei Yisrael Chaverav, and the people that are the people of Bnei Yisrael that are with Yehuda. Ulekach eitz achad, and then take another stick. Uksoiv alav liYosef eitz Ephraim. Write on the second stick for Yosef, the stick of Ephraim. V'chol beis Yisrael Chaverav, and all of the children of Israel who are with him. V'korav oisam echad el echad. Take these two sticks, bring them together. V'chol le'etz echad, so that they can converge into one. V'hayu le'echadim biyadecha, and they will be like one in your hand. And when the people come and ask you, the Navi Yechezkel, what are you doing? What are these sticks in your hands? Daber aleihem, tell them, Koyamar Hashem Elokim, so says Hashem your God, Hinei ani loikeach es eitz Yosef, I'm going to take the stick of Yosef, Asher biyad Ephraim, which is now in the hands of Ephraim, V'shivtei Yisrael Chaverav, and the people of Bnei Yisrael that are with him, V'nasati osam, and I'm going to put V'nasati osam alav es eitz Yehuda, and I'm going to put directly on top of it the stick of Yehuda. V'asisim leitz echad, I'm going to put them together. V'hayu echad biyadi, and they're going to be together in my hand. So says God. V'daber aleihem, and tell them further, Koyamar Hashem Elokim, Hinei ani lokeach es b'nei Yisrael mi bein hagoyim, I'm going to take the Jewish people out of the Gentiles, out of the nations, Asher halchu sham, which they have gone. V'kibatzti oisam misaviv, and I'm going to gather them from around. V'hevesi oisam el admosam, and I'm going to gather them to their land. Vasisi oisam lugoy echad ba'aretz, and I'm going to make them into one nation, B'harei Yisrael, in the mountains of Israel. Umelech echad yeh l'kulam l'melech, and there will be one king for them, for a melech. V'lo yeh od l'shnei goyim, they're not going to be two. V'lo yechatzu od l'shtei mamlechos od, and they're not going to be divided into two nations again. They will not be serving Avodah Zarah anymore. And I'm going to save them from all of the places which they sin. And I'm going to purify them. They're going to be for me for a nation. And I'm going to be for them for a God. David melech aleim v'roya echad yeh l'kulam. And David is going to be the ruler over all of them. V'karati lahem bris shalom, and I'm going to make a treaty of peace. Bris olam yeh osam. V'nasati es mikdashi b'soicham la'olam, and I'm going to put my Beis Hamikdash inside of them forever. V'haya mishkani aleihem v'hayisi lahem le'elehim v'heima yiyu li la'am, and I'm going to put my mikdash on them, and I'm going to be for them for a God, and they're going to be for me for a nation. V'yodu hagoyim ki ani Hashem mekadesh es Yisrael, and the Gentiles will know that I am God who sanctifies Israel bios mikdashim b'socham li'olam, from the fact that my place of dwelling is amongst them. That's the nevuah of Yechezkel. What does this mean? As we know, in the times of the son of Shlomo, Rechavam, who's the king of Yisrael, there was a rebellion led by Yeravam ben Nevat. Yeravam ben Nevat was from Shevet Ephraim. He was in the tribe of Ephraim. And from that time onward, there were two kingdoms in Israel. Malchus Yehuda, led by the children of David and Shlomo, and Malchus Yisrael. Different kings, one after the other. We also know that the Malchus Yisrael was exiled by the king of Ashur, Sancheriv, and they're lost somewhere. Somewhere, Chalach, Azor. The Malchus Yehuda stayed in Yerushalayim till the destruction of the first temple. They were exiled to Bavel, and really that's where they came back to Israel, times of Ezra, built the second Beis Hamikdash. Second Beis Hamikdash destroyed, Titus Harasham, and as I say, that's history.
In the making.
These two kingdoms, the Malchus Yisrael and the Malchus Yehuda, are referred to as these two sticks, Eitz Yosef. Eitz Yosef, or Eitz Ephraim, and Eitz Yehuda. There will be a time where these two kingdoms, which were a representation of division in Klal Yisrael, will come together. And that was the nevuah of Yechezkel. Once these two kingdoms, once the division of Klal Yisrael, once we can come together, V'nasati mishkani b'soicham, then I will put my mikdash. Vayisi lachem le'elokim, I will dwell upon you. I will be for you for a God. When the two eitzim, when the sticks come together, v'hayu le'achadim biyadi, and they become one, meshed together in my hand. Why do we read this Haftarah in this week's Parsha? The Mechira of Yosef, the sale of Yosef down to Mitzrayim, represented the division. Yosef was the king and Yehuda was the king. The division of Malchus Yehuda and Malchus Ephraim, which was caused by Sinah. But the Geula, Vayigash Elov Yehuda, Yehuda comes close to Yosef, puts aside any differences, gives up his life for Binyamin. V'hoyu le'echodim biyadi. That's what will bring the Geula. We have to all know in our own lives that pirud, segregation, separation between a person and his fellow Yid brings goals. Divisiveness, pirud, drives away Shechina. When we come together, we bring the Rabbanu Shalom down. V'hayisi lahem le'lehikim v'haya mishkani aleihem. Let's try to understand these concepts. In Michtav Melio, he says there's 3 levels of the mitzvah of ahavas chaverei. V'ahavta l'reicha kamoicha is a klal gadol b'Torah. Person has to love his friends. That's a great klal, a great rule in the Torah, like himself. There's 3 levels. The Ramban says it's kind of hard to relate to the idea that a person has to perceive his friend like himself. So what does that really mean? What it means is, says the Ramban, is that a person has a natural tendency to always want to be better than his friends. If a person's rich, he wants to be richer than his friend. If a person's smart, he wants to be smarter than his friend. It's that selfish kind of attitude. If his friend has more money, he doesn't want his friend to have that. Says the Ramban, when a person can get over that, can conquer his natural tendencies to want to put down his friends, and he can really be very happy. His friend has money, yes, I want that. Somebody's got to have money, might as well be him. His friend has all the bracha, his friend has wisdom, his friend can learn better, his friend davens with more concentration.
But it's in
those are good things. Yeah.
It's in human nature to envy. It's not
to
good.
envy. Yeah. So a person has
allowed? Is it allowed?
No.
A person has to
You shouldn't.
overcome that
It's
envy.
human nature.
You're going to break your...
It is, just to clarify, it is a healthy thing to have envy for somebody who does mitzvahs better than you.
Yeah,
Learns Torah better than you.
Torah.
But in other things, money, glory, covet, positions,
Oh, that's not good.
whatever it is,
Kill you.
give it to them. Just let him have it. Let him have it. If a person brings himself to that level, that's a level of v'ahavta l'reicha kamoicha. Don't think that I'm better than you. You're better than me. That's one level. The second level is even greater. V'ahavta l'reicha kamocha mamish, like you. The Michtav Melio says a yesod in many places in his sefer. It says an underlying theme that when a person gives to somebody else, he gives himself. If you give somebody a gift, you're giving yourself, and you become almost one with that person. When a person, ahava means connection. Ahava is love, right? You're connecting with a person. How do you connect? Mr. Melio says, have, give. Have means give. Ahava, give, and ahava, give back. And when you give and you give back, you create love, which is you merge into one being. I always give an example for this, and Baruch Hashem, I found it in the Yerushalmi. In the Yerushalmi, it's really a Karbonaida, which is it's like Rashi on the Yerushalmi, almost like Rashi. Karbonaida says that the Yerushalmi in Nidorim says lo sikom v'lo sitar. You shouldn't take revenge, and you shouldn't. Sitar means that if somebody wrongs you, and then he asks you for a favor, you're not allowed to say to him, I'm going to give it to you. You're not allowed to say, I'm not going to give it to you because you didn't do it for me. That's lesiko, taking a comma. And you're not allowed to say either, I'll give it to you even though you didn't give it to me. That's lesita. So it says in the Yerushalmi, what's the case? Hey Chavida, what should be your perspective? It gives a mashal. If you were cutting meat and the knife goes down on your hand and you cut your hand, so does a person think that he's going to take revenge from his hand? And maybe he should cut off his hand. He should cut off his hand, because his hand was what cut his other hand. So one hand should cut the other hand back. Does a person ever think that way? No. Why don't you think that way?
Because you only have two hands.
That's silly, because this is you speaking here. Right? This isn't somebody else, this is you. If a person viewed his relationship with somebody else as my right hand and my left hand, so we're one, we have to l'reicha kamoicha mamish, we're really one, then you would never dream of taking revenge against the other person. The third level, says the Michtav Melio, is even greater. The Medrash says, Amar Rabbi Akiva, v'yahavta l'reicha kamoicha ze klal gadol b'Torah. Shelo somar hoyul v'nisbazti. Don't say that if somebody embarrassed me, yisbaza chaveiro imi, maybe I'll schlep my friend in with me. Let him be embarrassed together with me. Hol v'niskalalti, if somebody cursed me, yiskalo chaveiro imi, somebody else my friend should also be cursed if I'm cursed. No, don't say that. Omer of Tanchuma, da. You have to know, imasisa came, if you're going to do this, you have to know, limi atam misbaze. Who are you embarrassing if you embarrass your friend? Bidmus elokim aso so. Your friend was created in the image of God. When you embarrass your friend, you're embarrassing God. And the Rakanti says as well, Parshas Kedoshim, somebody who loves his friend, he's loving Hashem himself. The third level of V'ahavta l'reicha kamocha is to love Hashem because you want to love your friend because you want to achieve dveikus b'Hashem. You want to attach yourself to God. You see in your friend God. B'tselem Elokim. He was created in the image of God. And if a person is mevatel himself, he completely nullifies his own kina and his yetzer hara and his anger and his nakama, his revenge, then he's being mevatel himself, he's nullifying himself to God. His friend is God. It's the image of God. I can become one with Hashem. That's how I have to look at my friend. In Noyam Elimelech, the Rebbe Reb Melech says, the tikkun hagodol biyoser liyehudi, the way to correct yourself, the best way to correct anything you've done wrong, sheyichol as atzmo in klal Yisrael, is to just include yourself in the klal. I'm not an individual, I'm part of a unit. Ki yesh olam, he says there's a world. Hanikra klal Yisrael. There's a world called klal Yisrael. It's a world. It's called klal Yisrael. In that world called the Bnei Yisrael, there is no pgam, there's no damage, there's no sin. Nothing can penetrate that world. That's what he said. And even if you sin individually, but the klal together, everybody together is always in its kedusha, in its holiness, and the Satan can never harm us together. And our tzura, or the image of Klal Yisrael together, is engraved in the kisei of Hashem, the chair of Hashem. He says that's why when we say Areini Muchan Mezum, and before we do a mitzvah, some of the Hasidim say, right? Areini Muchan Mezum B'Shem Kol Yisrael. It says, why? What's B'Shem Kol Yisrael? That's the world called Kol Yisrael. That you're attaching yourself to that, and now you're kulo kadosh, you're completely holy. What does that mean? These are very holy words. What do they mean? Klal Yisrael together is the Merkava Sashchina. We are the chariot of Hashem. Yisrael v'oiraisa v'kutsha b'richu chadhu. We're one with Hashem. Yisrael and the Torah and Hashem are all one. Hashem created a world where there's separation and segregation. I'm not you, you're not me. The table's not the chair. The chair is not the camera. The camera's not a hat. The phones are not. Everything's separate and individual. But when we separate, when we view ourselves that way through the facade of this world, then we're not unified as one. And then we can sin. But if we rise above that level and we view ourselves as one, then we become an object, so to speak, a power that nobody can touch, and no chait, because we become one with the Shekhinah. Yisrael v'oraisa v'kudesh habrichu chadahu. So there can't be any sin there. Hine matoiv u'manoyim sheves achim gam yachad. And the Nesiv Shalom brings, what is beautiful and great is when people sit together. He brings the Yisoida Avoida, Yisoid v'Shorsha Avoida. Sheves achim, what does it mean that when people brothers sit together? Ahuvim ka'achim, when they love each other like brothers love each other. Ki avas halavavos, because the love which is in their hearts when they're sitting together, mamshichim, pulls them together, mitzarfam, and unites them. Mitzaref means to take a lot of different pieces and mold them together. L'or echad, becomes like one fire. Dahainu ner Hashem nishmas adam, they become like their neshama, the ner Hashem, the candle of God. And when they become one torch together, then all of the sin falls away. Why? Because all of the sin comes burnt immediately from the unified neshama, which is a ner, which is a candle. Those are his words. Nesiv Shalom explains that the or, the light, the candle of our neshama lights its best when it's an avuka, when it's a torch. When it's a single candle, it's often very hard. You can't get much light from a single candle. But when 2, 3, 4, 5 fires come together, it's multiplied by tons and tons of the size and the energy and the power grows and grows and grows and grows many-fold when they're combined together. The Bnei Yisrael are often compared to the sand of the sea. You know, an individual piece of sand is worthless. But the sand of the ocean, says the Nesiv Shalom, is the mightiest force. It holds the sea.
It shapes the world.
Nothing stands in front of the ocean. Nothing can stand the wrath of the ocean, of the water, except the shores, the sand.
Yeah.
It stops the water dead in its tracks. That's the power when we come together. The Navi in Yirmiyah says, Asher samti chol gvul layom. I made the sand a gvul, a border for the yom. Nothing can stand in front of the chol hayam. Nesiv Shalom goes further and says, when we say when it says in the Torah, when Yaakov says Hatzileni no miyad achi miyad Esav, save me from the hands of the Veriet Ki Yarei Anochi Oisai, because I'm afraid of him. And Yavoi V'Ikani. And then he says to Hashem, Ta Amarta, you said to me, Heitiv imach, I'm going to only do good to you. V'samti ezaracha kechol hayom asher lo yisafar miroi. And I'm going to make your children like the sand of the sea. Why does he mention that in his tefillah? He told me, I'm going to do good to you. V'samti ezaracha kechol hayom. Yaakov was hinting that really there is no good force against Esav. There's no way that me with I can't fight, I can't beat Esav and his 400 men, except one way, by becoming like the sand of the sea. Individually, I'm just a little speck of dust. But unified together, we're more powerful than the biggest powers of the earth. When we come together, not only do we come together, we become a merkava, we become a chariot for the Shekhinah. We become a kli, a receptacle that can contain the Shekhinah. When we separate, we lose ourselves in separation, then we're susceptible to hate, and we become separate from the oneness of Hashem. We all know that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed because of Sinas Chinam, and the Gemara in Yuma, the Yerushalmi, said that Sinas Chinam is worse than all of the other Averos. I like to always explain that it's not the Pshat. It doesn't mean that it's worse in severity. Of course, if you bow down to idols, if you act immorally, you murder, those are worse Averos than Sinas Chinam. But Sinas Chinam has the greatest impact. Because when we hate each other and when we divide from each other, Hashem can't come down. He can't rest his Shekhinah on separate specks of sand. The oneness of Hashem will only come when there's oneness here on the earth. Oneness will mold together with oneness. Yisrael, v'yiraisa v'kudsha brichu chadhu. We're all one. When Yisrael is Yisrael, Kol Yisrael. The Medrash, actually next week's parsha, Vayikra Yaakov el Bonav Vayomer, and he says, Heyasu, gather together. And Yaakov called the sons together. Vagido lachem eis asher yikra eschem ba'achris hayamim. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen in the end of time. And then we're told that Yaakov forgot the Geula. He forgot them, and he told them, and instead he gave them a bracha. That's next week's parsha. Heyasu v'yagido lachem eis asher yikra eschem ba'achris hayamim. Says the Medrash, listen to this Medrash. Heyasu, gather together. Tziva oisan al hamachloikes. He told them, don't have machlokes. Amar lohain, he told them, Tiu kulchem asifa achas. Be one congregation, one gathering. Hadohu dichsiv. How do we know? Why is he saying that? Why should they be together? Why shouldn't they separate? Because it says, V'yata ben Adam kach lecha eitz echad because of a love u'livnei Yisrael chaveirav. Take one stick and write on it Yehuda and the Bnei Yisrael, his friends. Take another stick and write on it Ephraim and all the Bnei Yisrael, his friends, and put those together. And when you become this Aguda Achas, says the Medrash, Kishenasu Bnei Yisrael Aguda Achas, when we become like one, Hisaknu Atzmon Legula, then prepare yourselves for the final redemption. Because Maksiv Achra, what does it say? V'asisi eschem l'goy echad. I'm going to make you into one nation. You have to know. Pirud, separation between Adam and Chavero, is the cause of Galus, was always the cause of Galus. It was the cause of Galus Mitzrayim. It was the cause of the second temple destroying. Continues to be the cause that does not allow us to rebuild. Achdus, Aguda Achas, Hey Asfu, unity, Kol Yisrael, is unstoppable. Yisrael v'Raisav Kucharichu Chadu. It's the chariot of the Shekhinah. If we can come together, if the Eitz Yosef and the Eitz Yehuda, represented in the Vayigash Elov Yehuda, in the Mesiras Nefesh that Yehuda showed for Binyamin, if we can emulate that, if we can follow that Maisa Avos Simin Labanim, if we can walk down that path and follow that trail, the Rabbanu Shalom will look upon us again and say, V'haya mishkani aleim, my mishkan will be on them, v'yisi lahem le'elokim, and I'm going to be for them for a God, v'hema yu li la'am, and they're going to be for me for a nation, v'yadu hagoyim ki ani Hashem, and then the Gentiles, the nations of the world, will ultimately know that I am Hashem. Mikadesh es Yisrael, who sanctifies Israel, bihiyos mikdashi besocham liolam, when my mikdash will be amongst them forever, with the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mheira v'yameinu. Amen.
Amen.